NASA astronaut groups underwent a series of survival training courses to prepare for potential landings in remote and inhospitable areas. The aim of these courses was to equip astronauts with the confidence and skills needed to handle emergencies or off-course landings. The training was broken down into 3 key phases. First, astronauts received lectures and briefings on survival techniques specific to various environments. Next, survival methods were demonstrated, followed by hands-on practice. The final phase involved a field exercise where astronauts applied both theoretical knowledge and practical skills in a simulated survival scenario. In addition to technical training, astronauts were taught wilderness survival techniques, preparing them for the possibility of their spacecraft landing off-course. They practiced desert survival, learning how to create improvised shelters and clothing using parachutes. They also learned essential skills such as finding food and water, building shelters, and identifying venomous snakes in the jungle. The space race took a significant turn in 1957 when the Soviet Union launched Sputnik, sparking a sense of urgency in the United States. The success of the Soviet satellite prompted the US government to ensure it would not fall behind its communist rival. In response, President Dwight D. Eisenhower initiated Project Mercury in 1959, selecting 7 astronauts to participate: Scott Carpenter, Leroy Gordon Cooper, John Glenn Jr., Virgil Gus Grissom, Walter Schirra Jr., Alan Shepard Jr., and Donald Deke Slayton. The goals of Project Mercury were to orbit a manned spacecraft around Earth, study the effects of space on astronauts, and recover both astronauts and spacecraft safely. In an effort to outpace the Soviet Union, President John F. Kennedy took bold action. On May 25, 1961, he addressed Congress, calling for an additional $7 billion to $9 billion in funding for the space program. He set the ambitious goal of landing a man on the moon and returning him safely to Earth by the end of the decade. On February 20, 1962, John Glenn Jr. became the first American to orbit Earth. Launched from Cape Canaveral, Florida, the Friendship 7 capsule reached an altitude of 162 miles and a speed of 17,500 miles per hour. After completing 3 orbits of the Earth in over 4 hours, Glenn re-entered the atmosphere and successfully landed in the Atlantic Ocean near Bermuda. Throughout the 1960s, as the United States advanced in space exploration, the country set its sights on the Moon. Project Gemini, NASA's second spaceflight program, focused on perfecting spacecraft entry and re-entry maneuvers and studying the effects of extended space travel on astronauts. The Apollo program followed, with the ultimate goal of landing humans on the Moon and ensuring their safe return to Earth. On July 20, 1969, Apollo 11 astronauts Neil Armstrong, Michael Collins, and Edwin Buzz Aldrin Jr. made history when they successfully landed on the Moon.